everybody. But we're also on tape. We are deep down in the bowels of Lisnesak. Season 2, Episode 7, Episode 107 of Kamloops Last week. Christopher Foulds, Magic Mike, and Bill at the controls. 7.
Well, this is the big one, 107. 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the San Francisco Giants, the mighty San Francisco Giants, finished first in the National League West. They were projected to finish third or fourth out of 5 teams. 107 wins, holding off the hated Dodgers, who had 106 wins that year.
It's the history of cheaters like Barry Bonds.
It is the
right?
most wins ever by the most storied franchise in professional sports. 140 years they've been around. 1883 as the Gothams, and the Giants in New York, and the Giants in San Francisco. And that's the most wins they've ever had in a season, only to be scuttled in the best of 5 playoff series against Dodgers when a check swing, horrible check swing called by the umpire, gave the Dodgers the win in Game 5 at Oracle Park.
You must have hated that check swing.
It was exactly what I was going to talk about. Yeah, what a debacle.
It was a debacle.
It
was a horrible, horrible call.
What's with the Giants? Why do you like the Giants?
The ridiculous display that was that game.
Yeah, well, we were watching it together, I think, with some coffee at the time.
Yeah,
right.
We were. Yeah.
That's right.
Why the Giants?
Why not the
Why
Giants?
are you obsessed with the Giants?
I just when the MLB stole Montreal, gave them to Washington. It was a it was a political thing. It was a scam. I had to pick a team, so I picked the Giants because Felipe Alou used to go there. He managed them. Felipe Alou was the legendary Expos manager.
Father of Moises.
That's right, father of Moises, who my first wife was in love with for a while.
I've been to the Big O and watched the Expos play.
I watched them play the Houston Astros on August 6th, 1996.
I don't remember any dates.
Absolutely, it was great.
I don't remember. I'm not Rain Man like you. August 6th, 17.
I was there, and I remember seeing Moises was in right field at the time playing, and that was great. So you can't pick the Jays because they have a horrible organization, a horrible ownership. They have a history. They backstabbed the Expos and helped expedite them out of Canada. They have an ownership group that tries to kill the CFL by trying to get the NFL to play there. They're just a horrible, horrible team, a horrible organization. Rogers is horrible. The Jays are horrible, so I had to pick a team. So I picked the Giants, and was stuck with them ever since 05. So there you go.
Okay, Mike, how are you doing? What's going on?
Well, let me tell you, every time I hear MLB, I think you're talking about Michelangelo Badio, the guitar player that plays guitars like this. So it kind of always throws me for a loop. So, I'm doing really great.
How are the dogs?
The dogs are insanely cute. They're growing super fast. One of them could sneak through how you have the rounded gate of a chain link fence? It could sneak through the corners of it. And this morning he tried to sneak through the corners and no go. And he was mad. And I loved it. Yeah, he's getting bigger.
You're doing like just pooping everywhere right now.
Oh, so much poop.
Yeah.
So much poop. But you're allowed to put it into the
new compost thing?
Composting
Because Glenn Farrell said we could.
You can?
I didn't realize it.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I've been putting mine in the garbage cans.
Yeah, that's where I put it anyways. I just figured that
you might get a letter from the city about
I'm not sure if you can do that.
But they're really cute and they're learning and they're kind of overwhelming.
It's like having toddlers again, isn't it?
2. Yeah. And it's pretty tough, but they're really cute.
Great show today.
Oh wait, Mike has big news today too. It was kind of a milestone. You posted on social media.
Oh yes, big news. Something happened yesterday, which was the start of something pretty amazing. PV Electronics, which is a lot of the equipment that we're talking on and using right now. My dad started working with them as a music store and AV company back in 83. Right. So 40 years later,
Rain Man remembers.
Yesterday we were
83.
It was 83.
Yeah, no,
literally 40 years later.
Lost the Grey Cup by 1 point. It's horrible. Yes, 40 years later.
40 years later, we sent
business.
out the first shipment of samples to all our sales reps in the United States, and they are now our distributor. And where my dad was working with Hartley
It's a
PV,
pretty cool full circle thing going on.
It's
there.
amazing. Yeah. It's amazing, and our whole team's excited about it, and it's the start of really great things.
Yeah, and business is booming here.
It's booming just like our guitars. Big, powerful, booming sound.
Yes, and we might actually, with our 2 guests, have a competition throwing one of your guitars.
I think that would be really great. Dad and I in the 90s, we were trying to think of like ideas for sales, and we thought it'd be fun to do like a local town hero throwing contest, and you'd fill one guitar with cement and not tell somebody and do that. But I think we got an Olympian and world gold medal winner. why not throw some guitars?
Yeah.
16 pounds and I raise some money for some charity.
KCW Christmas Cheer Fund.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah. We've already taped the interview. We have Dylan Armstrong, Olympic bronze medalist shot putter. He's the coach of Ethan Katzberg, who's now a world champion gold medalist in hammer throw. And he's training right here in Kamloops. From Nanaimo.
And he's got nice locks.
Looks like a Viking.
Yeah.
He's got a mustache. So, good interview. Stay tuned for that. For now, yesterday's council meeting. Bizarre.
It was bizarre, wasn't it? Yeah. Normally, Kamloops Council does not meet on the Tuesday following a long weekend. It almost never does. But because they have this pressing issue in Noble Creek in the northwest side, the north part of west side, we've talked about it before. There's 41 properties there, many farmers, Pravada Winery, Dieter Duty's Thistle Farm, some hay farms out there that provide feed to cows and stuff. Anyway, there's a bunch of farms there that need to irrigate their land. There's an issue with the intake there. There's an issue with the water system, and they have to figure it out. And they've been talking to this city, and the city's been talking to them and the ministry, and they're trying to figure out what to do to this thing. What's the future? And they thought they'd come to a resolution yesterday, but they're down to a few options, and they're going to figure it out. But during the meeting,
and those folks there was a group from Noble Creek.
There was a group again who came to speak just to reiterate that this is what they'd like to see, and I don't think it went till 5:30 or 6, and I had to go to a meeting after that. So I don't think it was resolved, but I think they're getting down to the nitty gritty to figure out what to do with this thing, which is good. However, that meeting started at 1:30. It went. Well, I had to go into a work meeting at 4:30, and it was still going on. And then 5:30, I come out, and Michael was still covering it. So I think they got some options. But the weird thing about the meeting was during the meeting, a couple times, it kind of got sidetracked. The mayor, Rita Hamer-Jackson, wanted to read into the minutes a transcript of a telephone call that he had recorded with the CAO of the city, David Trotwin. And he kept trying to do it, and the corporate officer, Maria Mazzato, was cautioning him, no, you can't do that because we, legal-wise, we have to review the transcript, and we got to find. And then Michael Riley, the counselor, says, "Oh, I want to check the authenticity." To which Reed says, "What do you mean authenticity? I talked to him. I taped him." Maria says, "Well, did he know he was being taped?" And the mayor says, "Well, I don't know. I was in my car taping him." And then it went, "No, you can't do that."
And this was supposed to be during the public. This was the public inquiry.
Well,
section.
It started at the public inquiry session. So first of all, the mayor handed the transcript to one of the users of the Noble Creek system, who was going to read it into the thing, because Maria advised that as mayor, he cannot read it in during the public inquiry session because he'd be in a conflict and he could be disqualified. It gets very technical.
Dale Bass piped in and told the mayor to pipe down.
No, and it was, and then at the very start of the meeting, before all that happened, I guess there was some kind of issue before the meeting between the council, because as it started, the mayor was hot. He was running hot, and he was talking about people getting out of his ear, and then he even said, "And Councillor Hall, it's none of your business where I was this morning." And it was bizarre. And now, granted, I'm listening to this as working, right? So you're just hearing this, even if you watch it on the YouTube, they don't show them. There's a graphic up there, but you hear them. So it started out as a gong show. It ended as a gong show, and it was bizarre because they're there to talk about a specific issue that's very important to 41 people and to the food security of our region, and it kept getting sidetracked by these snipes going back and forth, and it was just bizarre.
There seemed to be some disagreement about the stage they should be at of organizing their committees or going forward with this.
Working groups,
and because Bill Sarai started talking, saying, "Well, why aren't we doing more now? Because we're not going to meet for another. Because we're going away to."
So we got to go to the UBCM in Whistler, I think it is, and then the mayor says, "Well, why are we even here now if we're not making a decision?" So there's even disagreement on whether they should be meeting and what they should be meeting about. This thing's drawn on for so long,
and they don't have time for this.
No, they don't have time for
this specific issue, especially.
No, they should just get it done, and I don't understand why it's taking so long. I mean, they have the meeting. Greg Whiteman wrote a long, detailed, good report with a bunch of recommendations, and then he presented it again yesterday. And he's getting in the crossfire too. He's getting, I think, unfairly attacked by some people too. He's doing his job on behalf of the city to try to protect the city's assets, to protect the city's liability issues, and to try to help these users of the water system. But it's just it's been dragging on for years, never mind just weeks and months here. And I just found it, it was kind of bizarre and funny that they're dealing with this super important, urgent issue that got sidetracked over 4 or 5 hours by these weird personal grudges that you can call them, I guess, personal grudges, that are so evident. It's so evident when they're talking to each other. It's just, it doesn't seem to be repairing itself, does it?
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to, Bill, go to the slide here, slide 2. So yes, this is the proficiency scale used in British Columbia. We're going to talk about, it's back to school coming up.
Yeah,
so
we have the paper today. We have a newspaper out today, September 6th, and we have 3 kind of feature-ish stories on issues. And one of them is the fact that this year, the province-wide has gone away from letter grades from kindergarten to grade 9, and instead they're using the proficiency scale.
And that's not brand new.
No, and in fact, the Kamloops Thompson School District was one of a few last year that did the pilot. So my stepdaughter's in grade 7 she's starting grade 8 this week at Kamloops School of the Arts. She's been under this kind of system in grade 6 and 7 for the last 2 years, so we're used to that. It's always been the case from, I think, primary K to 3.
Yeah.
But letter grades started grade 4 to 12 in our day, and even last year in most districts. Kamloops was a pilot project, so they're used to this. So this is new but from grade 4 to 9 now, so it's K to 9. This year, 4 to 9 across the province, it'll be new to a lot of parents everywhere in BC. So instead of little Johnny coming home and getting an A or a C or a B+, they have this, and they merging, developing, proficient, extending. Mm-hmm. At first, I thought this was kind of crazy, but I was totally thinking this is just another one of these
the world's softening,
the woke
we're not
culture,
preparing our kids properly for real life.
Having looked into it, read a couple of articles, I scanned a study they did on this, and then listening to all the people talk, including the teachers union, Rhonda Nixon, the superintendent, even some provincial people, it makes sense to me.
It's about development, focusing on the process rather than the final product, asking the right questions. Also, fighting against AI actually was an interesting one I heard too. It's not just about the answers; it's about the.
Well, do you understand it? The best thing I heard described, someone mentioned, letter grades are good. Not all kids learn the same way. Some are visual learners, some are verbal, some are text-based learners, but anyone can study and regurgitate something and get an A.
It's not about just memory.
But do they understand the context? Right. Do they understand it? Whereas this, I think, and what this is interesting is not only do they get the emerging, developing, proficient, or extending.
So you are still being graded in a way.
You're graded, and this is the students doing really well, remarkable. This is really good. They probably need some help catching up. But also, rather than just give the A or the B and say great work, Johnny, or you need to pull your socks up, they actually they go deeper into what the kid is learning. So the parent, the president of the KTTA, the local teachers union, kind of joked saying that we like this, but it's a little more work because we have to do more, But that's good because then you don't just get the merging. The teacher most teachers I think will go into detail as to what they need to do or how well they're doing. I think it's good.
It's about ongoing learning. That's one of the big, being inclusive.
Yeah.
But there's a side of me too, and I see it. It's like taking the scores out of soccer for kids. Kind of that's the first thing in my mind. It's like participation ribbons kind of thing. But I agree with you. I've come around on it. I talked to a teacher friend of mine last night, and she is basically in favor of this and thinks it's good. Although she was a perfectionist student, and she told me I would have really not liked not being able to get A's.
Yes, because
I want to get A's.
It's all about, when my kids got their report cards, there were always A's and B's. Yeah. I never ever got that when I was a kid. And so you're proud of your kids, and then you want to put that on. Oh, look,
you have to go to Pizza Hut, get the plastic cups with ice in it.
Now you'll see a bunch of Facebook posts with, my kid's extending.
He's extending, ooh. It's still, I guess that is kind of like an A, I guess.
That's an A, B. I think that's probably a C, C+, and then these kids they're lost, those ones there. So I'm just kidding.
I hated report card day. My sister also hated it, but for a different reason. Report card day for my sister, she was a straight A student. She was younger, and I think she just hated seeing what would go on in our household when I brought my report card home. And I also agree, people learn differently. Yeah. I consider myself like a tactile learner. I got to touch and feel it and go through it. Mm-hmm. And I do love to learn new things, and once I've learned them, I move on to something next. And that was always a problem in the traditional school system. So I can see how this could be a real good good system.
I think it's a fuller look at the kids and how they're learning.
And once you
rather
get to
than
grade 10, it's back to grades.
10, 11, 12
10,
are still
11, 12.
grades because of they have to work it out with the post-secondary institutions because they have to have grades to get in there.
Yeah.
Now that may change going forward, but they have to work with the universities like True and UBC to say, well, because right now you have to have grade point average, you have to have A's and B's to get into this school or this school or this school. I'm sure that they'll eventually.
Did you get good grades in high school?
No. In English and socials, I had really good grades, but in math and science,
English and socials sucked.
The same.
Math and science and trades, I failed. French 8, I failed IE, which was industrial education, where you take those in grade 8, you take woodwork and then metalwork and then electronics and drafting. Failed all that because I'm completely.
The only thing that
lost in
saved me in English was being, when you gave the speeches, the presentations.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason I passed English.
You're very dramatic.
Because I could do that really well.
Yeah.
Writing, I hate it. I hate the look of my own handwriting, everything.
Well, and some people are petrified of doing the public speaking part, but you like that.
Oh, I loved it.
They say last year they had a study, and they say the death is the second greatest fear of humans. Number one is public speaking.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm teaching my first class today.
You are. He's going to teach at True. He's a professor. We're going to put you in that Reed Hamer Jackson thing with your little cap going on there. Yes.
I'm not a professor. I'm a sessional instructor.
He's a professor.
But I'm
Professor
using
Hastings here.
A's, B's, C's, D's. No proficiency scale.
Yeah.
When you have math, there's the right or the wrong answer.
Yeah.
And I tried to help my niece who's in grade 9 math. Have you guys tried doing grade 9 math?
I can't do grade 6 math.
She failed because of me. And the teacher said, you need to do it the way I tell you how to do it.
I can't figure it out.
We got all the right answers, but there's a way, and it's a way of thinking because, you can take a picture of a math equation now and it'll come up with the answer. It's
Once you figure out, the cool thing with math and science, I think, is once you figure out how to do it and it clicks, then you can do any equation in the world because there's a path. Mm-hmm. Whereas with social studies or English, it's more subjective. Right? There's no right or wrong.
I got good grades up until grade 10, then I just started.
Then you got into the
social life. Well, dope and drinking and rugby and discovered the opposite sex and all downhill.
All downhill since then. My socials teacher said if Mike paid half as much attention to his own work as he does to everybody else's business, he might be passing my course right now. That's what he said to my sister.
I remember grade 10, Mrs. Vance. Miss Vance.
Was this at Abbey?
Abbey Junior. I head over heels. I had a
you were hot for teacher?
Big crush on Miss Vance. I wonder if she is now. Right now. I remember, that was interesting.
Moving right along.
Anyway,
one more Shandy story. Sean Brady wrote a story. Federal Housing Minister Sean Fraser considering a cap on the number of international students in Canada because of a housing crisis.
Yes, that was, so in last week's newspaper, every month we run a column from True, Thompson Rivers University, from the president, Brett Fairburn, and he writes about whatever, and we allow counselors, school trustees, and True to write a column once a month, just to let people know what they're doing. So last week he wrote a longish column on the international student dilemma, the proposal, the possibility that there'll be a cap on the number of international students coming to Canada. And Brett Fairburn, the president, wrote a column, and he was saying that it's not a great idea. He never touched on the fact that True makes a ton of money off international students. He was talking about the cultural, the experiences, what we gain from their cultures and all that. So we did a story in this week's newspaper, Sean did, talking to True about
they're charged almost double international students.
Yeah, they get about double. So if you pay $6,000, say for as a Canadian resident to go to True, they pay
like 11.
or 9, they pay 18 or whatever it is. So so the story was about the proposal. The housing minister he cited the housing crisis as one reason they're mulling this idea. He also cited in an interview with CBC. There have been examples, he says, firm examples of known fraud, not with the universities, but with these private colleges, many fly-by-night pop-ups, whatever university or, private college in Toronto or Vancouver or whatever, where they'll recruit students to come here under the false pretense that they actually have classes for them, and they take the money, and then these students are left high and dry. Some are homeless, or the other fraud that was alluded to was that they might be bringing them in as an immigration scam, and there's really no school to go to. But he says housing was the one thing, and this was another issue that he's looking at. There's been no decision made, but if this comes through and there's a cap. who knows what the cap is. It could hurt the schools like True that they get a lot of money from the.
We contacted TRU though, and Sean did,
Yeah.
and their response, they're worried about
getting the blame,
being blamed, and also racism. As well.
Their response was, well, you know, the internet, this possible policy may put the wrong blame on students for a problem they didn't create,
for problems that are at home, at our own problems.
They're already there,
Yeah.
and there's an argument to be made that, you know, do international students as a whole contribute to the housing crisis? Do they take housing that would otherwise be for Canadians who are living there? I don't know.
I've had renters in my place. I had
you've had
Big Sexy, was
Big Sexy
German.
from Germany, yeah.
Too many late nights with ladies coming over.
Well, you're all alone,
but he was he was a good guy. But I also had Canadians too.
Yeah, it's a pretty good debate going on right now whether or not should they do the cap. If they do the cap, would it even help alleviate the housing crisis? Does it even relate to the housing crisis right now? I don't know. After our story went out, I always tweet it, put it on X, Twitter, and there's been a pretty good responses to it, and there were some people critical saying, one of them, he ran for council, Randy Sunderman, he ran for council.
Sundermaniacs.
Yeah, and he's a pretty intelligent guy, a policy guy, and he tweeted and said, True should be doing what other universities are doing and building on more residential places for their students rather than high-end condos for the private sector market. Now, True has built some stuff. They're building stuff across Summit Drive when they bought that apartment building, College Heights. But on the other side, they have it's work camp trailers where students, there's 114, I think. And yeah, you need those things there, but it really looks shoddy, if you ask me. They're living in these work camp trailers. Maybe they should be building permanent places there. So the argument from some on Twitter is True is not doing enough to build housing for students. It's their responsibility. They should be doing it, the university. And they'll argue we are doing it. The critics say not enough. Instead, you got the Reach. You got all those private, for-profit, beautiful condos that nobody could afford, really. Yeah. So there's that argument, too, coming out of it.
Sunderman just missed out on council, right?
I think he was 9th or 10th, and the top 8 got in.
If I was running his campaign, he'd be in.
He would, eh?
The Sundermaniacs. That's what I would call supporters.
See, Randy,
rally around that. And
in 2026,
Randy Sunderman and all the Sundermaniacs, just that alone.
Randy needs the professor in his corner.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he'd be in right now just based on the marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on now to Foulderdash.
Foulderdash?
Foulderdash.
Foulderdash? Foulderdash?
This segment, we combine your love of the English language with your tendency to blow up on social media. Today's word of the day, Bill, if I may. There it is. Running hotline bling. You know the Drake song, Hotline Bling?
Yeah.
So this is a bit different because this is a DM from your daughter. She reached out to me and said, Foulds has to be on, and she called it the wrong, on Fouldsy Fired Up, she called the segment. It's called Foulderdash.
Hey, she just got a job teaching in Saanich as a TOC.
Oh, so she'll be on the scale there.
Hopefully she'll be there, yeah.
But she said, my dad's running hot, you have to talk about this on the show. And so here's the message that you sent. This is a DM from you to her. This just proves that Drake. Do we have a slide for this? I don't know if we do. Yeah, I think we have. Yeah.
Well, she asked me before this. She sent me a text that showed Ed Sheeran. Mm-hmm. He's a big singer apparently, and he set a record for most people to concert in Vancouver history. Ed Sheeran. That was up here in the blue, and she said, and she sent me a text that he's wearing a Lions jersey.
Yeah.
And she goes, look at this. It's a story about he broke the record, and then she couldn't believe that he broke the record of all the artists in the world. And I said, I always loved Ed Sheeran because he's wearing a Lions jersey.
Drake wore a Grizzlies jersey. Stromae Swift.
Drake's he's the guy's he's a what do you call it, bandwagon jumper. Whoever's front runner, whoever's winning, that's his. No,
Stromae Swift is off the board. That was like a obscure draft pick near the end of the franchise in Vancouver. So because I was at the concert, by the way, the Drake concert.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm not a Drake fan, but.
Go uptown, New York City. Strange girls love me like I'm out of shootout. Tell Uncle Luke I'm out my M2. Coming home with me, ain't much to do. Wrist play, got a condom on this game. Still getting brain from a thing. Ain't shit changed. How you feel?
Well, let me just. So she said. I can't believe wouldn't Drake be the one to break it, not Ed Sheeran? And I just responded.
You absolutely lost it. You said, this just proves that Drake is a grifter. He can't even sing. He canceled his first concert in van because the video screen is broken. Do you think Bob Dylan needs a video screen? Do you think Elvis needed a video screen? Are we at a concert or a movie? If Drake was such a great singer, why has he never sang the national anthem at a Raptors game? Because he cannot sing if his life depended on it. I sound better at karaoke at the Central. He is a commodity. He is a product. He is nothing more than a Starbucks latte mocha, whatever you order. All style, no substance. At least Ed Sheeran can sing, play an instrument, read music, and compose, none of which Aubrey brackets Drake can do.
It's true.
You lost it.
I stand by that.
Why do you have such a thing against hip hop?
Well, I don't have a thing against hip hop. I just have an ethos I live by. What does a chocolate bar and music have in common? The first thing you do, you throw away the wrapper.
Wait, but why do you can't do that, first of all. You can't, but your own
I did
jokes.
that, Professor. Don't worry about it.
And why?
I don't hate, hey, young MC. I like that.
It's because the only thing that is good to you is anything that happened between like 1980 and 1995 with pipes in Abbotsford. Like Van Halen and AC/DC, and if it didn't happen then, it can't be good.
Rap happened in the 90s and 80s.
Well, yeah, but you didn't like it, so it wasn't good.
Like
I know rap did too.
You like Drake.
So
70s. Rap happened in the 70s.
Well, that happened in the 70s.
Sugar Hill Gang.
Hip hop is 40 years, 50 years old right now. I have nothing against hip hop or rap.
You do.
What I do is I have everything against Drake. He's a fraud. He's not talented. I don't know why people think he's great. He can't sing. He sits there and talks. All he is he's a very good promoter of his own commodity, as I say, and he's a front runner too. When the Raptors were playing the Golden State Warriors, the day before the game, he's wearing a Warriors jersey and sucking up to Steph Curry, and then at the game he's yelling at them. He's horrible. He's not true. He's not genuine.
I went to the concert, and I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate because I don't particularly like Drake. I don't like the mumble rap style.
Yeah. And
it was very like the hook of the song, the intro is good, and then it's the same thing. But he has an army of fans, and you just have no respect for this kind of for rap in general, for the genre.
Watch, I think Eminem is a genius.
Name me one Eminem song.
Well, that one where he talks about Slim Shady.
Lose Yourself.
Yeah, that's great music. I think it's good. That's not my thing, but I can see. Here's the thing: I can't stand Yes. Right? I can't stand Rush. I get in a bad mood listening to Rush. Let me finish. Let me finish. The sound, personally, I just can't stand it. Metallica, I don't like, but I can turn around and say they are genius musicians. They're musicians. They are brilliant. They're amazing. I don't like the music. The same cannot be said of this guy.
Are you sure? Have you really read his lyrics? There's a reason he has an army, a legion of fans who worship this guy. Maybe you just can't relate to him. So you just like he wasn't playing at the Highwaymen in 1989. He can't be good.
Have you read his lyrics?
I've listened to enough, and I thought
it's poetry, isn't it?
Look,
I guess now Bob Dylan has to stand aside because he's going to get the Nobel Prize for Literature next, right? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Bob Dylan got it.
Bob Dylan got it. Bob Dylan got it, and that's all that needs to be said.
Mike,
Bob
do you have
Dylan
any thoughts on this? You're the music guy.
He's an artist.
First of all, I'm dumbfounded that you don't like.
I don't like the music.
Rush or Metallica
No, but
who else don't you like?
You're missing the point, though.
Red Hot Chili Peppers? Do you like?
Yeah, they're all right, but I'm just recognizing that Rush in particular, right? Three-man band, right? And Metallica,
Geddy Lee, Neil Peart, and Alex.
They're genius performers. They're musicians without part.
They're producers and they played the parts.
They're amazing,
but
they're so good. But I just don't like I just hate that prog rock. I hate it. Whereas let's talk about Milli Vanilli, for example. They were frauds. We all know that. The music sucked. They weren't real. The backup singers sang it all.
Like the Monkees.
The Monkees, for example. Yeah.
So I still listen to. Oh, speaking of Monkees.
I still like it. Yeah. The Last Train to Clarksville. That was a good song. Yeah, I like that one. But I'm just saying. Don't you see what I'm saying? I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying they're fantastic. It's just I don't like that music, and that's a difference. Drake is bad, and I don't like his music. And that's objective. That's an objective truth.
You would have liked because one of his running mates couldn't get across the border.
Oh.
So he brought in this big star rapper who I don't even know who he was. This Travis Scott guy. Your daughter got all mad at me because he didn't know who he was.
Travis Scott,
but it was the best part of the concert because he surprised everybody and came out to the Undertaker's music.
Oh yeah.
And the place went nuts. pets.
Oh, you see, there again, you say that one of Drake's people couldn't get across the border.
Yeah.
So instead of sticking with him, like Zach Brown Band did, Zach Brown Band came up to play Vancouver 2 years ago, and one member of the band couldn't get across the border because some overzealous guard wouldn't
Drake
let him
didn't want to
through.
let people down.
Oh, so the Zach Brown Band says, sorry, we're going to reschedule, but we are a team. As one goal, all goes. Drake, oh no, it's all about Drake, and he leaves the guy at the border. The guy's probably still in the ditch right now. The guy's probably still down there. He's probably homeless in Bellingham right now, and Drake's going up there right now.
What do you have to do to get stopped? Not like.
That's a terrible
Rolling
argument.
Stones.
No, it
can
isn't.
come to the-
No, because he's a team
Canada.
player.
You wanted to stop the
Front runner,
shows
yes.
up
Yep.
18,000. Meanwhile, he canceled the night before. We're going to cancel again because my pal can't. Instead, he goes out of his way.
So his pal gets stuck at the border and he leaves him there homeless. yet a video screen doesn't work and he can't do the show because it's without the video. There's
Drake
no show.
gets on the hotline bling. Who does he call? Travis Scott from Texas. He comes all the way to Vancouver.
probably
for
walks
the
over the
show
guy at the border
to
who's
please
in the
the
ditch.
people. Back to my original point.
Yeah.
He got a way bigger pop than Drake.
Right. So he cancels the show because electronics don't work. Is he not a singer? But he can't cancel the show.
He
'cause
wanted
his
to give
brother
the
fell
fans
at
a
the
full
border.
experience, and we don't know exactly what happened. You're just saying
Was
that's
the
what happened.
screen just that it wouldn't go
We
up?
know. GM
It's a,
play.
it's a very the
Roger
whole show
Center
is
said.
centered around. It's like a weird 8-sided screen
Yeah,
that
it's
it's
really
all
not- it's not music
incorporated
thing,
with
yeah.
his act.
Is there a guitar on stage with Drake?
No.
Then he's dead to me.
Yeah, he's dead to
Quite
me.
frankly, I didn't like it either.
Well, Elvis never
wasn't- he
needed
wasn't
a
very
screen.
good.
Elvis could look at the '68 special. There was no screen. It was just Elvis and the fans doing their thing.
Okay. Outside of that, because that was a bit of a rough go for me, but we had a great
weekend.
We had a great weekend, Mike, didn't
weekend.
Yeah, it involved my two new puppies, Monty Montgomery and Nuno Barkencourt. And yeah, I didn't realize that you had such a gag reflex to picking up dog poop before, but
Yeah, it's weird. Well, it's only certain types that have that ammonia smell that come from it. That's from growing up in Abbotsford. The smell of money, right? It's pig manure. Only some dogs have that ammonia.
But
So sometimes it brings back to some trauma.
We trained them last week, but this week we brought them to a racetrack.
yes, because they are 11-week-old puppies and they do exactly what we want them to do.
Right. And
Yeah. And you know how we got them to do what we wanted them to do? We used McDonald's fries.
you just
'Cause
put a
they
fry out
are
in the middle of the track.
So good, and yeah, you can train them really well with that.
Do you know who kept on ruining it though? Terry Lowe. He would drive one of his Volkswagen cars, electric, and you can find them at Volkswagen. They're still in stock. He'd go onto the track, and because he loves fries so much, he'd take the fries.
He's a fry burglar.
He's a fry burglar.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, the puppies, it was dirty. It was dirty.
Well, it had that rain, right? So a little muddy out there.
So we had to go to Gord's Appliance and Mattress Center for the Big One sale. It's on right now. You buy any 2 qualifying Maytag and Whirlpool kitchen appliances, you can save $200. You buy 3, you get 3 honey off. But while you're there, which we had to do, they have washing machines. And they actually have a dryer that is specifically made for pets. I was just there.
You can put animals in there?
No, it picks up more dog hair. It's got a special insert that attracts all the dog
Oh, like
hair.
the-
Right,
like
'cause
a
that's a
lint
huge
trap or
problem. It
something,
gets
yeah.
stuck in
Yeah.
the blankets and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after that, we went to McDonald's again because you wanted to go to the Aberdeen Playland.
I did, and I wanted a coffee. And I wanted to jump into the balls to like cool off.
Because you yeah.
Doing a bit of whining again, though. Again, the Volkswagen, you were kind of...
Well, I thought the interest rates, I thought the lease rates were high, but apparently they're pretty
They're low.
Yeah.
LOWE low.
Yeah,
They are.
And I thought, well, we're not going to find any there, but apparently,
You don't have to wait.
Yeah.
There's a lot in stock. You go to Volkswagen at Kamloops right now, you can find everything. There's no luxury tax, up to $9,000 in government rebates available too. So get over to Volkswagen at Kamloops. Great weekend. Let's move on now
Unless it's electric, then it's like this.
to the title of Hastings, brought to you by McDonald's.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Well, we kind of did that in harmony. That's kind of nice.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I have a question for you.
For sure.
If you could have one job in the world, what would it be?
Probably something to do with like fabric and like textile stuff.
Oh, are you into sewing and design and fashion?
Yeah, I like to sew.
Oh, you do? What have you sewed lately?
Lots of bags. I just kind of buy like fabric and cut it out. I don't use a pattern or anything. I
Okay.
just kind of YOLO it.
Well, it sounds like you're talented.
Thank you. Thank you.
If I could do one job, I would probably be a McDonald's drive-through attendant, so I could tell people about the Grand Big Mac and about how the summer drink day special has been extended to late in September and about how the Filet-O-Fish is underrated. Getting a phone call, 1 second. I'd like to order, please now, if I could. I'd like to order 2 coffee, both medium,
Okay,
1 decaf, both with 2 cream.
for sure.
Was that
What about
confusing?
today? No, that's easy.
That's easy, okay. Thank you. I'd like to make an announcement, please.
Okay,
You've done a great job this morning.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
We might be pushing the weight limit of what's allowed up here at this desk for the first time. Dylan Armstrong, Olympic medalist, bronze medalist. Ethan Katzberg, world champion, hammer throw.
Thanks for having us.
Ethan, 81.25 meters at the World Championships. Broke your own national record. The youngest ever men's hammer throw world champion. The youngest medalist in the history of the event. The first Canadian male to reach the podium in hammer throw at Worlds. World champion.
Yeah, that's quite a list.
When you hear all that, what comes into your mind?
Overwhelming, I'd say. That's a lot going on there. But obviously, I'm extremely happy to have that as a bit of a title.
And what's these last couple weeks been like for you?
Yeah, there's a lot going on, but kind of trying to avoid too much, taking a bit of time to rest and recover, and just kind of go over the past season and then prepare for the next season.
Let's go back to Hungary, Dylan. Just what was your take on when he threw the one that went 81.25? Did you know right then, like, that's a massive throw?
For sure. I mean, especially at his age, only being 21. I was surprised, but I wasn't. The training had been going well leading up into World Championships. I knew he was capable. We've had a great year so far. We had a good, long, hard winter, good spring, had some good meets over in Europe, pre-Worlds. And then leading up to Worlds, we went to Germany, had a training camp there, started to come up even a little more. And, Ethan throwing a fantastic qualification mark over 81 meters. That was when I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, well, that one broke the Canadian record the day before, right?
Yep.
I saw the video of that one, and when you threw that one, you almost fist pumped right away because I think you knew that was big.
That was the 81.25.
That was the 81.25.
That was the 81.25.
Okay,
The
so
81.18, I don't think I did anything. I just kind of walked out. I knew it was far, but I didn't want to start celebrating in a qualifying, right? So
Right.
I wanted to save it for the final.
But you knew, so the 81.25 then, you knew when that came out of your hand, that's a beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. So the throws leading up to that, almost all of them were over 80 meters. So I was like, okay, I'm capable. Now I just need to connect everything together, and I think that was when everything kind of lined up. So I knew it was definitely a good throw.
He came over to me and said, basically, I feel good, and I'm like, you got to stop playing around now. You're ready, right? If you're that consistent hovering around 80 meters, we knew he had a big one in him.
Is there? Yeah. What do you say to him? Do you say okay, give her hell right now, or what do you say?
Well, I tend not to do that a lot because otherwise he can get too excited. And,
Yeah.
Obviously, hammer being, you have to be pretty technical to have a good throw. You can't pull it, and so just him getting in that zone and really focusing on technique, and then you compound the adrenaline on that. That's how he was able to produce that throw.
Well, what do you do in between? I think we've asked another athlete this. I mean, how do you not get stressed out, get the yips? You got to wait a certain time before your next throw, and then you're watching others or whatever. What do you stay away from your coach? Do you like to talk to people, isolate?
In that competition, I definitely isolated myself. I'd have a quick conversation with Dylan. Okay, maybe think about this, or we had 2 kind of cues going in, and it was going left and getting my right foot down, and just looking up at the end.
Yeah.
It's almost like swing thoughts in golf.
Yeah,
right?
when you're getting
Super
into
simple.
that setting and that big of competition, the worst thing you can do is have a whole bunch of cues and keep things basic. Don't try and complicate anything. And we knew going in, we've already had talks about that, and just he's pretty technically sound, so he's not gonna veer off from doing too much than what we've already done in training, and just 1 or 2 simple cues that work.
So, and then, during the competition, I definitely isolated myself. didn't want to talk to anyone, didn't want to focus on what everyone else was doing in the circle. Like I knew some of the distances and knew kind of where I needed to be, but they're going to do what they're going to do, and I have to do. I have to perform as well.
Do you listen to any music to get you going? Do you just zone out?
Just kind of like I'd often just kind of like close my eyes and just kind of just like kind of visualize my throw.
He may not. I mean, he's not going to tell you. He's very laid back. Yeah. I mean, he that's what makes him unique, and he can turn it on when he needs to, and he can turn it off. That's a gift. Which is it is for sure, and that's I think that is a big advantage when you're in a stadium full of 70,000 people screaming and hollering. I mean, it's very, very good. So I think if he continues to be like that, which I think he will be, it's just in his nature, that will help moving forward.
Did anybody throw after you for your last throw there, the 81.25? Did somebody else have to go, or did you know right away I'm the gold medalist?
So they reordered after the third round. So it was like the first position through last of the 8, and like the 8th position through first. And then after the 5th round, they reordered again. So my 5th throw was my 81.25, so I threw last. So I got to wait and see what everyone else threw, and then once everyone was done, I knew I won on my very last throw.
Right. And statistically, not many people do well on that last throw after they know they've won the gold medal. They either dump it or it doesn't go far. He goes out and throws.
Okay, so you had already won the gold then by the time your other throw came.
So to go out and on your last throw over 81 again was very, very impressive.
And what was that moment like? I've seen the video. You go over to Dylan. Dylan's hoisting you up in the air. What was that moment like?
I didn't really let myself get excited, but I got the clap going. Everyone in the stadium was clapping. It sounded amazing.
Like a Viking clap kind of thing.
Like a
everybody's getting into the
volleyball. So like it's just super loud, and I wanted to throw far on that last one, and that's sort of when I let myself get excited on that very last throw, and then after that it kind of all hit me.
Yeah.
Then I went over to Dylan. He hoisted me up. There's an awesome photo of that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It was an exciting time.
Yeah. What about for you? Because you've coached him now. Well, that's another thing too. The guy was throwing 55 meters when he showed up here. That's 3 years ago. Yeah. And now he's world champion, 81 meters. You're a big, and Dr. B as well. So what did it mean to you to see that happen?
I mean, I think Ethan was definitely, an undertrained kind of part-time hammer thrower when I got him, and he was more solely focused on being a basketball player at the time. And so there was obviously a lot in the tank, and he's got the tools and has the right, just the right variation of all the tools and the head and good shoulders or a good head on his shoulders. And so I think it's a combination of many, many things, good training system, a good facility that we train in, lots of support here in Kamloops, a great club. I could go on and on and on, but it's just a variety of reasons why he's had the success that he has.
Are you guys buddies? Like, are you guys
buddies? But no, for sure. But we keep that line too, right? He knows that we've got to keep that athlete and coach relationship.
What about the night of the gold? Did you go out in Hungary together? Have some fun?
We did. Okay. His family was there too, which was awesome. And so we went out and had a few celebration drinks, I guess. Yeah, you could say.
Dr. B. Let's talk about Dr. B. I call him like the mad throws scientist because I've seen how he works, like he kind of ambles around and he kind of mumbles things, but you guys understand what he's saying. So what's it like to work with him and how influential has he been?
Yeah, I mean, he's the godfather of throwing. He's the guy. He's got all the tools, and having him kind of work with Dylan, it's been extremely helpful. Obviously, there's been some incredible growth through him and Dylan.
For me as an athlete and a person, so I've been very fortunate to have him, be in our corner, and I've worked with him for a long time, for probably almost 16, 17 years now. Yeah. So that's pretty special. I've sat with him on a daily basis for many, many years, twice a day when I was an athlete, and I've learned a lot, and I've basically, I've taken what I've learned from Dr. B and used the same training methodologies and have, implemented them into Ethan's training.
Has he talked to you after, has said anything to you since you won gold? Any words?
We went up there.
Yeah, we went
his
up
house.
there a couple days ago and had a really nice conversation with him and just kind of talk through the whole competition and everything.
Yeah. Was he? So he what was he?
He was ecstatic. He was super excited. Just to see that come from Kamloops and where he is and where our club is and myself and Ethan and just our group. I mean, it was amazing. He really was excited.
Any other inspirations for you? Like anybody you thought about right away when you won gold? Anybody that has inspired you? A family or some kind of interesting story there?
My family was there, which was being able to do that in front of them was extremely special. I have idols in throwing. That's. I definitely have some people I watch and analyze and want to kind of look like technically. Like Igor Abstakovich is a big name for me for sure, and I try to. I don't know. I really like his technique, and I think he just I try to. And I'm kind of the similar build as him. I think he's like 6. He was 6'5", I think. So it's a good kind of translation.
I had some fun in the paper. I asked you about, you look like a Viking, you've got a mustache, and could you be on a cereal box, like marketing? Have you had any kind of marketing stuff come your way since?
No cereal companies.
No?
We've got some things in the works right now, and I think some deals will evolve, and that stuff takes time. So Ethan's got an agent in Europe that will probably put something together for the new year.
Because you know about this. I asked you about this on the phone. Like you have a finite time, athletes like you, to capitalize on these things, and you win a gold. Like you got to strike when the iron's hot. That's just me guessing, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, you're correct, and I mean it is tougher in Canada. But I think we're going to reach out. We have reached out to some people, and I think hopefully we can seal a few deals going into Paris 2024.
River Song Guitar.
You got any ideas for
one of those?
What would be a good company to sponsor Ethan? Do you think, Mike?
I think we should do a guitar throw contest for charity.
That's a great idea.
Awesome.
Love it.
I'm totally in. I think it'd be fun to do, and maybe that would share it with the world, and somebody might see us somewhere else. So, anyways, we're proud of you. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks. That's great.
What about funding opportunities? Because are we not the National Throw Center anymore here?
No, we're not. That changed when some new leadership came in, many years ago now.
With Canadian Track and Field?
Yeah. So, and once you have somebody in a new position every decade or every decade, things do change.
Yeah.
So the model changes, new ideas come to the table. But that being said, we've still treated it like one.
Yeah.
And with the strong community support and city support, the club, nothing has really changed as far as like support services.
Well, I was just saying, like something like this, can't you say like, hey guys, 55 meters 2020, gold medal 3 years later. Is there opportunities for you and the club? And I don't know, you talk about Pacific Sport and Kamloops Track and Field Club. I mean, is there opportunity to kind of bring something like that here or some kind of funding nationally? Maybe. It is tough because there's obviously not a lot of money to go around nationally.
Yeah. And most of the money, I believe, comes from On the Podium, OTP.
Okay.
Which is, passed down from the government to them and then to the federations.
Okay.
So there is only so much money, but hopefully we can in the future at least maybe even get a sponsor on board with Ethan and for the club as well.
Paris next year.
The big one.
2024 Olympics. Yeah. You don't like to talk numbers as far as like distances, but you have said before you generally in this sport you improve to your like 30-31.
Yeah, I mean that's individual for the athlete, but around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, around there. 30, 31, 32.
And you're how old?
21.
So
that's 3 Olympics.
There's room. There could be room to grow. Yeah. I mean, what are your goals for the Olympics?
It's tough to say. I mean, obviously, I want to be in good shape for it and perform at my best and go out of it knowing that I've given it all I've got. But I don't really know what that looks like right now.
Yeah, we're in it to win it. But of course. But that's why we're doing this. We're training to win. But again, I don't like to talk the numbers. We
Right.
know that, the results are going to have to be better than this year at World Championships. They are going to be better, I think, in the finals. So we just have to keep our heads down and keep training and doing what we're doing and continue the program.
Guys are going to come after you now, right? I mean, and
Absolutely.
you kind of
Yeah.
shocked the world too. The one interview I saw after is a guy. He was right after the medal ceremony. He's kind of broken English. He's like basically like nobody knows who you are, and now you're a champion. So, but now people know who you are, right? I mean, there's no hiding.
Yeah, I mean, if I can say, he's definitely lit a fire on everybody's butts.
Yeah.
And that's, what's going to motivate people, right? And they know that they're going to have to really step it up just because of Ethan's age, I'd
Right.
say, more than anything.
Right.
Right, because he's still got time and room to grow.
Yeah, and you kind of rained on the Hungarians' parade because they had a medal hope. Well, he still won bronze, which is good, but you kind of ruined their parade there a little bit in
A
Hungary.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But they still loved you. I mean, you just
Oh,
showed
it
me a
was
video of
yeah.
people flocking to you.
Amazing. It was amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, how they ran that event, and I've never seen this in my life, and I've been to a lot of world championships and Olympics, and I mean, Hungary is a big hammer throwing nation, and their guy was, obviously projected to probably win. They had a lot going for him, and they scheduled the 100 meter the same time pretty much as the hammer.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, the 100 round, and then
The hammer was last after the 100
the,
meter?
the hammer was running, and then the 100 round.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, the hammer, the 100 meter round, and then everybody just kind of went right back to the hammer.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that because there was, usually at World Championships the main event is 100
Yeah.
meter. Everybody's focused on that, but it's like nobody hardly even cared. They were all watching the hammer throw because their guy was throwing
Right.
there, and then Ethan threw 81 meters, and then the stadium went crazy, and it just totally took the focus off of the 100 meters.
Yeah.
So
How many people were in the stadium?
I don't know, probably 50 to 65,000, somewhere in there.
Huge.
Yeah, it was packed.
What's that like? I mean, having that many people watching.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had to ignore it for the most part because, you can't get overwhelmed in a big competition like that, and it's easy to do so. So I definitely had to kind of keep the focus on what I had to do. But obviously it was an amazing experience being able to throw in front of that kind of stadium. It was really special, yeah.
Cool. Anything from you, Mike? Anything else?
I think it's awesome, and I remember watching that on the news. How much does a hammer weigh?
16 pounds.
16 pounds. So I have to put a little bit of weight into the guitar for one of these. That's all I'm thinking about.
That's them at the bottom, yeah.
Yeah, make sure it's at the bottom.
Yeah.
And you have to keep the mustache and the hair now, right?
Oh, yeah, it's staying. It's got to
gotta
stay.
Yeah.
Awesome. He's got that for
Until
almost ever. Probably.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank
Thanks
you so
for
much.
having us.
Thank you. Don't want the 9-hour cycle, please. Freaking $500 hydro bill, piece of trash. I need to speak to Gord on the Niner.
Hey, no, I'm actually Steve, the new owner.
First things first, pal. You should probably update your sign. Number 2, my dishwasher is tangled again. The 9-hour cycle, hydro bill through the roof. You guys don't fix appliances, I know that, so I need a new one.
We actually do fix appliances, but if you want, I can show you some new ones first and have a look. You got a price in mind?
Money's not an obstacle for me.
Money's definitely an obstacle. He's the cheapest guy in Kamloops. Ain't that right, Darby?
Well, this here is going to be your Cadillac model, top of the line. This is our middle of the road dishwasher, just a great dishwasher at a great price. This is our budget friendly model, still a great dishwasher, just at a bit of a lower price.
Price doesn't work for me. Let's see if we can fix mine at home.
Alrighty then. There you go, seems to be good. How's the fridge working?
The fridge is fine, Gord.
It's Steve.
Okay, you're still rattled, I think. About, Drake.
Some things just get you in a bad mood all day, and Drake's one of those.
Any thoughts on the show otherwise?
No, I think it was great. I loved seeing Dylan and Ethan here. I have a theory as to why Ethan prevailed in the World Athletic Championships. And while he beat the hometown hero, I'm pretty sure he was hungrier.
Oh, man. Some of these jokes, we're going to cancel ourselves here with these. This could be the last show.
Well, now that he's a professor, he's lost his sense of humor.
Mike, anything from you?
I learned that Drake does not have guitars on stage.
Absolutely.
And
So
I'm with Chris.
Yeah, absolutely.
Learn to play guitar,
Learn to play
Drake.
music. Learn to
I'll
sing.
help you.
Learn to sing. Learn to do something without electronics and video. And pick up your guy at the border. Drake would have been in the army. He would have been like he would have lost. He would have been court-martialed because he would have left everyone behind running because he can't. He's probably a coward too. Is what's going on there?
This Drake hatred.
Yeah. It's I think about like rock and roll stars and if I go across a border and they ask me some questions about drugs or something like that, and I can imagine getting detained easily and stopped kind of thing. But some of these rock stars, they live that lifestyle.
I know.
It's like, how can they not all be stopped at the border?
Well, no,
and what does this Drake guy have to do? Did he kill somebody?
Well, the Drake's guy got stuck there, and Drake, of course, kept going because he has no team mentality. Zach Brown band, great band. They play real music. They play their instruments.
You have
they
no
actually read
concept
music.
of, like, contractual
and they left the
obligation.
guy there, and they said, "Hey, we're going to come back," and they came back. But they said,
Obligation to the fans.
One for all for one. That's his mentality, right?
Drake
and
called
other
an
thing,
audible to make something
One
happen.
other thing, Elvis served in the military. Did Drake? No, he didn't. That's all I got to say.
But a
about
bigger question is, Zach Brown band, is it chicken fried or chicken fries?
that. Fried.
See, that doesn't make any sense.
It's a chicken fried.
A whole bunch of chicken fries.
Yes, it's chicken
and a
fried.
cold beer on a Sunday night,
Yes.
but chicken fried
Yeah,
and a cold beer on a Sunday night.
It's a food of the deep south. You've been to the deep south, so have I. The grits
but
and the
chicken
white
fries
gravy and
makes
everything.
more sense.
Okay, thanks again. We can't do our show without our sponsors. We actually are having a great surge on YouTube again. Thanks to all our subscribers. We're up to 443-ish. Going toward 500. We were just getting to 400. Now we're getting closer to 500.
What are we going to do when we hit 500?
We'll have a party. Have some kind of a party. Screen off.
What's even worse is the camera's off.
Oh.
Oh, there it is.
What happened?
Yep, there it is.
Everything okay? Still recording.
Is it recording?
They're recording it. We'll have to watch that one back and see when that happened.
Well, we're still here in large part because of our sponsors. Volkswagen of Kamloops. Thank you, Terry Lowe. The Magic Mirror, brought to you by Volkswagen every single week. Gord's Appliance and Mattress Center, Steve Rogers, my guy, Gord Stevens, and McDonald's, Brandy Seacon. We thank them very much too. For Christopher Foulds, for Magic Mike, for Bill, I'm Marty. We'll see you last week.
Last.